The next company we are proud to introduce is Civic Atlas. Civic Atlas is AI-powered tool for tracking building permits and zoning cases and ultimately development activity. John Devine is the CEO and founder of Civic Atlas. John has over a decade of experience specializing in that intersection of GIS, real estate, and software development. John holds a master's in city planning degree from MIT, where he was a research assistant at the MIT Civic Data Design Lab and the MIT Urban Risk Lab. Welcome to John, who is presenting Civic Atlas.
Thanks, Trisha. My name is John. As Trisha mentioned, I'm an urban planner and the founder and CEO of Civic Atlas. We are an AI-powered platform for tracking urban development across the United States. Prior to my time at MIT, I spent 10 years working as an urban planner in Dallas, Texas. And along the way, I found out that it's really hard to keep track of urban development. You see here all this lovely paperwork on the right. These are zoning cases in Dallas, a really important source of information about new development. And I was having to spend tens of hours each week reading these manually, copy and pasting the results into spreadsheets and mapping it in GIS. Today, if you actually want to understand the building supply pipeline of a city, you have to do exactly this manual process, gather data from building permits, planning commissions, public meeting agendas, and then map it all in GIS. Very few organizations can afford to spend all this time doing this. And the consequence is that America doesn't really know what it's building. Over the past 20 years, civic technologists have started working on solutions to this. Unfortunately, almost all the tools out there only work for one city at a time, and they still rely on someone manually entering data or for local governments to keep really clean, well-maintained APIs, which is out of reach for a lot of smaller or rural municipalities. The exciting thing is that new technologies, specifically large language models, mean that an automated, more standardized approach is now possible. At Civic Atlas, we've been building an all-purpose workflow where we can go into any city, regardless of how they store data around permits or zoning cases, and integrate it to give you a clear picture of the building supply pipeline. We start with the web scrapers that pull raw public records straight from government websites. We then use LLMs and traditional ETL methods to take data from those 100-page PDFs and put into JSONs, a lightweight, flexible format that most web apps can work with. We then use large language models to enrich location information where needed, and then we can geocode it through APIs like Google Maps. A lot of the time, zoning cases don't even have addresses. They have weird legalese phrases, at the intersection of Lover's Lane and Mockingbird Drive. But LLMs are great at taking that and turning it into something that APIs can understand. We then pull this data from every different city in the US, put it into one clean web app, and we can make it just as clean, intuitive, and user-friendly as apps like Zillow, Airbnb, or Google Maps. This past November, we launched our first beta in Dallas. We built a real-time map of every building permit and planning case in the city. You can try this out for free at civicatlas.net. Without spending $1 in advertising, we got over 80 enterprise signups and really exciting positive local news coverage. As you'd expect, most of our users are based in real estate, but we also have major retailers, architects, community members, neighborhood associations, academics. There's a lot of different people that want information about building that just don't have access to it with existing tools today. Highlighting a couple of our major success stories, one of our users is Crow Holdings. They're a major real estate investor and developer in Dallas, and they use us to track the multifamily housing supply. They say that having a good understanding of upcoming development is hugely significant for determining the profitability of their investments. Existing softwares don't do a good job of this, and so we help them invest much more effectively than their competitors. Vision Plus is an architecture firm that advises developers on how to build new projects in Dallas. As they go through a complex zoning and entitlement process, it's important for them to find examples of other developments that got city approval. Right now, this is really difficult. You got to spend a lot of time going through those PDFs, but we make it really fast for them to find comparable projects. This helps them reduce project delays, get new housing built faster, and build trust with communities. Lastly, kind of a fun, exciting use is the Dallas Free Press. They're a local newspaper. And as you may be aware, a lot of local media has lost the funding to have reporters follow City Hall closely. We sort of act as a force multiplier for their reporting team, helping them track real estate cases that otherwise they wouldn't afford to cover. And this gets trusted information out to the public and kind of builds a sense of community knowledge and trust about upcoming development. Our next step is to take all of this raw data and start turning it into statistics and high-level analytics. We'll be able to have people compare any custom geography across the country, things like zip codes, census tracts, and see exactly what's getting built and how it varies across jurisdictions. We can also layer in demographic, psychographic, and census data and start doing predictive analytics on where we can expect development to happen. Right now, we're looking for a large enterprise pilot partner to help us figure out what of these data points are most valuable and how can we combine it with your own proprietary data to give you really powerful, tailored insights. We're open to partners in any industry. A couple obvious candidates to us would be retail, where we could help out with site selection and predictive inventory analytics, commercial real estate for that market intelligence use case I mentioned earlier, and then governments. We can use this data to help drive policy analysis and create tools for public data transparency. My name is John, and happy to open things up for Q&A.
Excellent. Thank you so much, John. Real exciting stuff that you're doing there with Civic Atlas. A few questions for you. So you spoke about it a little bit, but could you just expand? Are you limited to any specific geography, and why or why not?
Yeah, so we are not limited to any specific geography. Our workflow can work regardless of country, regardless of state. We're getting started in Texas, just as an active real estate market. It's a great test market, but we can deploy this technology anywhere.
Fantastic. And can you use AI to summarize specific zoning cases? How does that work?
Yeah, so thankfully, a lot of these newer models have context windows long enough that they can actually analyze these entire 100-page complex PDFs. So it's on our roadmap to start generating kind of clear, concise summaries of these huge, complex legal documents.
Fantastic. And the next question we have for you is, can you use this approach for other public records? So proposed city legislation, for example.
Yeah, we are not limited to building permits and zoning cases. We've got a request to start looking at city council meeting agendas and other public minutes. Whatever would be useful to partners, we can integrate into the system.
Fantastic. Well, John, thank you once again for joining us today and learning more about Civic Atlas. Appreciate it.
Thank you.